Banana Rag was my public voice when I declared myself the town fool of Victoria. It was a way of putting it in print that I could circulate it rather than simply having to walk around and tell everybody. And it went to the public schools, which was a bit alarming for the school board because I didn't ask permission, I just went. So some people were very upset, but some principal said, hey, come on in. So that was how it started, and just to generally let people know what I was up to, not that I had much circulation. Oh, and the other connection was, of course, with the mail art people, that I received the notice, the Image Bank request list, which then I sent, from that I sent my Banana Rag out to people in the Mail Art Network, and that's what was my original connection with that network. Well, the Image Bank request list came from Michael Morris, Vincent Trasoff, and Gary Lenova. They were at that time known as Image Bank. I think Gary Lenova quit at some point. Anyway, I received the list, and what the list consisted of was names and addresses. I didn't know who these people were, and their request lists for lips, skies, 50s cars, whatever they were into. And I knew nothing about any of it, but I was isolated, and I thought, well, this might be an interesting connection. So I clipped all of the requested images, went through magazines and so on, and put together an envelope for each person that I had images for, included a copy of the Banana Rag, and said, I'm interested in receiving images, stories, newspaper, magazine articles relating to bananas. And that's what began the deluge. But it hasn't stopped. In the beginning, I had no consciousness about graphic design, and I didn't have a computer, or I probably didn't even have a typewriter. So I hand-lettered the issues, and I did my decorative little curlicues. It was all very, I don't know whether it was 60s or what the aesthetic was, but that's what I was doing. And I did include photographs, but I didn't know about screening. So the whole thing was rather crude in terms of its graphic qualities. And I had to go right to like 1/8 of an inch of the sides of the paper. And I used the big, what do you call it, the legal size paper. So that was the beginning incarnation, and then I used that method for the first 6 or 7 issues. I can't remember the numbering, maybe even up to 8, because then after I had left Victoria, I was in San Francisco, and I did an edition that was postcards of some of the material that I'd received from the Image Bank request list people. So each card featured an artist's work. Like I know one of the cards was a Dr. Brute card. So it had a big visual on one side, and then on the other side it was, you know, postcard 2 and some other smaller stuff. So that was the next change, and then I started typing the issues and letter setting the headlines, and that went on for quite a while. I'm just trying to think when the next evolution, and of course I changed the letterhead on it. In the beginning it was very heavy with all my little graphic stuff, and then I got to using different fonts and a different illustration, and then I went to typesetting. And I think even up until, I don't think I was actually computerized myself until I was back in Canada in the 80s. So I presume then that the lettering was Letraset, the headlines were Letraset. And then once I got computerized, then everything, you know, and I scanned my pictures and made the, you know, but it evolved all the way along, and it went out to a larger and larger mailing list as I connected with more and more people.